Straight ahead on the Daily Dime, the Magic avoid the NBA record books as Orlando and the C's head to OT at TD. In the West, as the Suns try and even up their series with the Lakers, only Steve Nash knows whether he'll be ready to go for Game 4. And is Phil Jackson really thinking about blowing back into the Windy City? We'll find out next on the Dime.
Redick, good job on Allen. And Rondo calls out the play. Allen for three. It's good! 2-point game. Timeout, Orlando.
Welcome to the Daily Dime. I'm Alex Loeb, and coming up on the show, we'll bring you the very latest on the Cleveland coaching carousel. But first, despite the fact that they're playing their best ball in 2 years, the Celtics haven't been immune from speculation. After recently being asked whether they saw what happened to the hockey team they share TD Garden with, who also had a 3-0 series lead, a fired-up Kevin Garnett replied, "The Boston Celtics are not the Boston Bruins." On Monday night, KG and the C's would try to put the Magic on ice. The Celtics were trying to help the Magic become the first team in NBA history to sweep through the first 2 rounds and then get swept in the conference finals. And things getting scrappy in the second half. KG called for the technical after he gets involved in a shoving match with Dwight Howard. Garnett claims he was hit in the face, but the referees don't buy it. KG, however, would respond with his play later in the third with the and one, and the C's led by 1 after 3, but in the fourth quarter, the Magic took over. Dwight Howard, 32 points and 16 boards, and Orlando led by 7 with just 2.5 to go. But Paul Pierce wasn't going to let the Celtics go down quietly with a monster flush. Boston within 5, then with less than 2 to play. How about Ray Allen? Hit more threes in this game than he had the entire series. He buried 5 of them. The Celtics down by 2. Moments later, just under a buck and a half to go, Pierce at it again. With the and one, would make the free throw, and we're tied at 86. The Truth had 32 points. But in the final seconds of regulation, Pierce loses the handle, and for the first time in this NBA postseason, we are headed to overtime. In OT, still tied at 86. Jameer Nelson comes up with a huge tray, and for the first time this series, the Magic had 5 players in double figures, Nelson with 23, but Ray Allen comes right back and answers. Ray Allen's mother hoping the Celtics can pull this one out, but Mrs. Allen would go home disappointed. Pierce with the miss, would get it back. Another miss from downtown. And for the first time this postseason, the Celtics lose after holding an opponent under 100 as they fall 96-92.
We didn't want to go home. And it starts with me and Jameer. And I think tonight, me and Jameer showed our leadership by just playing hard.
I thought we executed poorly throughout the game. We didn't make the next rotations. We didn't make the next pass. It was amazing how bad we were execution-wise and still had a chance to win that game.
Well, definitely there's no need to panic. We like the position that we're in, but it's just always a lesson, in humility. As a team, as individuals, you never get too big for the situation.
Like I said, at some point, somebody's going to come from 3-0 down and win a series, and the only thing I knew for sure is it would start by winning Game 4.
And so the inside story in overtime in this one was that the Magic shot 4 for 7 from the field and grabbed 8 rebounds. Meanwhile, the Celtics were miserable, shooting just 2 for 10 and taking poor shots while turning the ball over. And no one besides Ray Allen could find the bottom of the net for the Celtics in overtime.
What happened to Boston? In overtime, they were 2 for 10 shooting in the OT, looked very tired. But it started before overtime on that last possession of regulation time.
Well, they were in a war tonight, and it seemed like it wore them down as the game went on. They just couldn't quite put the Magic away. I expected Orlando to come out with a good effort to start the game. It's very difficult when you're down 3-0 to continue to take runs by the Boston Celtics and be able to stand up to them. They did it repeatedly, and I think it just wore the Celtics down, and especially in overtime. You could just see the stagnancy set in. Nobody moving. Last shot of the game, last possession, I would have taken a timeout from Doc Rivers. They had been going back for 3 straight minutes at both ends, very physical. Both teams were tired. Celtics were bent over a lot of times during dead balls. I have to feel that as a coach. I understand the mentality of, hey, if they miss this shot, we're just going to go. Don't let them set up. In that situation, I'm looking at my team and I'm gauging them. I see a team that's tired. I want to make sure I get the set that I want. Paul Pierce had absolutely no legs from the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter all the way through overtime. Every shot was short. It started off great, and you can see by his numbers, his shooting performance went down the tubes as the game went on. I want to make sure I get the ball in the hands of the guy that I want, where I want on the court in that situation. Doc didn't do it, rolled the dice, didn't come through, and then Orlando gets the game in overtime.